Yesterday I forgot to put my hat on. I lied. I told a story. I was spinning a tale without my fiction cap on. Uh, well, I'll just leave it off for another minute. I'm still working on the camera. I got another replacement camera and I think this is going to work. So that little hum that's on here and the unpredictability about my camera, maybe that'll be gone for a while. All right, this couple. They went in the central door of the post. Now there's windows on either side, so you could see. It was like a storefront. Although they weren't the original ones because some of the original ones had been damaged. But it was like an old time storefront. Remember, this was the post that they were going in. A cafe that was on the location of the original post office of Earth's Drink. Well, they went in through the door and were immediately greeted by the what do you call it, brrista, I think, that ran it, and she said, "Hello, welcome to the post." She immediately said, "I love your outfits. I love your bibbies. Those look like they're brand new bibbies, and they match." Uh, they they laughed a little bit about it because they loved their bibbies. They were so comfortable, and they walked together, and they sort of like being matching. Although that you might think, "Oh, that was kind of cute," and well, they felt cute, and and the barista introduced herself, and she said, "My name's Audrey, uh, Audrey, and I've got a nickname here that people call me Queen Audrey. Everybody has a nickname in her drink." She said, "But anyway, welcome. But I got a question for you, sir." And at which point Peter said, "My name's Peter, and this is my wife." And he had to pause and smile. This was only the second day that he could say that. "This is my wife, Heidi." Uh, uh, okay, Audrey then said, "Well, here's my question. Are you related to a man that's in Roaring, that's in Earth's Drink? There was a man here this morning, and you look like him. You favor him. He was in here at around 11 o'clock this morning," and Peter said, "Well, yeah, that's no doubt my father. Uh, uh, his name is Janny, and was my mom with him?" And Audrey said, "Yeah, there was a woman. I didn't catch their names, but there was a woman with him." Well, Janny said, "That's mom. That's that's my mom. That's Nell." And which Audrey said, "Boy, if she were in Earth's Drink very long at all, she'd immediately get the nickname of Nellie." But that's the way people are here. They wouldn't be satisfied with just Nell, not with a woman like her. And and Peter and Heidi said, "What do you mean a woman like her?" And Audrey said, "Well, your dad, Janny, he spent all this time talking with Raph. Do you know who Raph is yet?" And Janny said, "Well, he's one of the guides from the on and off and on tour guide's office." Yeah, I know who Raph is." And he said, "Well, they spent the whole time talking about, the water wheel. Mostly, they seem to have an engineering bent, and eventually, your mom, she didn't exactly get bored. She listened, but she didn't have a role to play, and she got curious about that pounce playing outside. And when you know it, she went outside, watched for a while, and then the kids. These are all neighborhood kids, and I know them all very well. They spend a lot of time here. Anyway, the kids said, "Hey, do you want to play?" And by golly, she did. Your mom, she said, "Well, I think I used to play pounce once when I was a teenager," and she didn't know she'd remember, but she had sat. They came in and got another deck of cards and went back. See, I make them play outside because that's can be such a noisy game. In the winter, I'd let them in, but in the better weather, they have to play outside. And wouldn't you know it, your mom not only started to play, a little bit slow at first, but she beat them. She's something, Nell. Um, well, anyway, uh, Peter said, well, it sounds like they're having a good time. I'm glad to hear that. We're going to see him for supper this evening. And now Audrey, she didn't, she still had another question. Are you the new couple? Are you the newlyweds that came through town in a buggy parade Sunday yesterday? Uh, I heard about it. I wasn't here. We're closed on Sunday, but I heard about that buggy parade, and oh, Peter and Heidi too. They're just so happy to just think about that. Be reminded that they're married. Uh, and she said, yeah, that we're the newlyweds. Well, she said, well, welcome to Earth's drink. Can I get you something? And Peter or I think Heidi spoke up at this point. Says, well, sure. What do you suggest? And Queen Audrey is I'll use her nickname. Sometimes I just call her Queeny. Queen Audrey said, well, I recommend a raspberry cocoa refresher for each one of you. They'd never heard of that, but it sounded good to them, and so they sat down and they continued to talk about this and that while Queen Audrey busied herself making up these refreshers. And then Peter, and they were served, and they ate them. Sure enough, they were delicious. They just enjoyed the flavor for a while. But then Peter slowed up and he said, Audrey, if I may use your name, I have a question. I'll save that for tomorrow.